The internet is not so subtly warping our brains, and the more I notice it, the more it terrifies me. It's involved in pretty much everything we do, and it plays a massive role in how we see the world around us, raising the question, how can we be sure that our worldview isn't being tainted or distorted beyond what could be considered real anymore? Can the truth ever be found in the endless torment of Instagram Reels? Today, I hope to answer these questions for you, and share my foolproof solution for escaping the Matrix. More on that later, but for now, what can we do to test this hypothesis and see just how screwed we really are? To accomplish this, there was only one course of action, one method that would get me swallowed up by the algorithm and spit back out again an enlightened man. I had to scroll. I doom scrolled to the world boundary and back to absorb as much mind-bending psychological warfare as I could. YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, Twitter, Reddit, you name it, I've scrolled it. Apart from TikTok. We don't talk about that. The aim here was to observe any patterns emerging from the algorithm, how other users interacted with each other, and whether I could get one over on the powers that be. However, straight away I found myself 2 steps behind the algorithm at all times. No matter where I went, if I lingered on a topic for too long, or God forbid interacted with it, I would be inundated with more of that content. But this isn't news to you. When I say that the algorithm essentially mimicked and catered to my every whim, you and I know that this is exactly what it's designed to do. Platforms like Reels and Shorts are engineered to essentially replace the like-dislike functionality of previous internet media. To interact with the carousel that short-form content relies on, you are forced to implicitly give feedback on every single thing you see. How long it took you to swipe off a video gives far more information to platforms than whether you remember to like the video or follow the creator, and you do it 1,000 times as often. The telemetry of a simple swiping motion is converted into the equivalent of a like or dislike, along with a scale that essentially says how much that like or dislike is worth. Imagine for a second that things you don't care about, and therefore swipe off much faster, say half a second, are getting a Reddit downvote. The creator is not only losing reach on that video, but they are also losing major street cred. But perhaps you see a minorly interesting reel or short that you stick around on but don't ultimately finish. This is like a YouTube dislike. Sure, it might hurt the video's reach, but their reputation remains unimpeached. Now, picture a mythical pull on Instagram Reels, a capuchin monkey in an Attack on Titan hoodie weaving between cars, a young man hitting a canister of galaxy gas mid-food review, a chicken doing a nasty kickflip with hang time. These videos you surely watched several times, and this can be effectively translated as 5 big booms for that video and creator. Unfortunately, it's not always radical farmyard animals who grab your attention in this manner, and so instead of those mythical pulls being all you see, your feed is populated by exaggerated problems that you disagree with and inflated positives that you might see more favorably. And that's what this video is really about, or at least it is now, ever since I lost the chicken kickflip video to the great half-pipe in the sky. People think of politics, religion, or other traditionally divisive issues when they talk about social media companies inciting debate and arguments. But the twisted beauty of this system is that while they can and will do this, the algorithm is sophisticated enough that it can make virtually any issue divisive and inflate almost any problem or oddity to its most outrageous proportion. Let me grace you with some of the highlights of my travels, the creme de la creme of this phenomenon. This video depicts a fisherman encountering 100 alligator gar right after he subtly foreshadowed this exact event.
If I'm bringing up a souvenir tree, I'm not going to be happy. Ugh, or like 100 gar would be bad too.
The fish proceeds to destroy his net and the video ends. A fun time had by all. But as it turns out, one of our base assumptions was completely wrong. This man isn't a real fisherman on account of him using a net. This comment then ignited a heated, fishing-centric argument about the merits of nets versus rods, one for the ages, as I'm sure you can imagine. The next video shows a man finding a fish in an odd spot beneath a small waterfall. Whoa, how'd that get there? Unfortunately, many commenters were simply too distracted by this poser of an outdoorsman throwing down his firearm in such a callous manner, and even after being informed that this weapon was a daisy-line plinker rifle, they could not be convinced otherwise. Continuing the theme of what makes a man's man, we have an unfortunate incident of a boyfriend straight up planking it during his partner's blood draw, and snoring immediately after hitting the ground. Unlucky and very embarrassing. It also elicited this comment from a real tough guy, who subsequently started an argument that spanned over 500 comments long. For a breath of fresh air, we see a video of one of the sickest WWE do not try this at home incidents I have ever seen, conducted by several Australian scholars. Surely such a fun-loving, no one even got hurt video like this one can't start an argument, right? Right! but this guy can. What ensued from this anti-American propaganda with 30,000 likes was a 50-comment argument about whether the USA or Australia was better at nearly killing themselves for the vine, and education, and drinking. Finally, we have this tamer exchange on a Tumblr meme, making fun of the cooking creator Joshua Weissman. This joke was so potent that in the space of 2 comments, it drove a man to propose a financial genocide. None of these videos presented a particularly contentious topic. At most, they made fun of a single cooking YouTuber, and yet every single one of them incited mean-spirited, low-stakes arguments that almost always rose to the very top of the comments for more people to see. What's more, the people taking the time to unironically argue with complete strangers in the comments of a random meme always seem to relate it back to a preconceived notion they have about the wider world. Someone thinks that a shotgun would be more ethical for grouse hunting. Typical liberal. Video of a guy throwing up in a restaurant because of some bad-smelling fish? This generation has not been raised to avoid intentionally throwing up in restaurants. It appears that people are constantly looking for a hill to die on, even if that hill is a sweeping generalization based off of the most nonsensical us versus them mentality. And therein lies the problem. People with strong feelings about something, however misguided, don't actually have to look for something to affirm that belief or to get upset at. The algorithm will gladly serve it to them on a silver platter. During my journey into the belly of the beast, I constantly found the most pointless arguments in the comments of fishing videos, and after stopping to document a few of these, Instagram Reels seemed to draw the conclusion that I was a fisherman, and showed me nothing but fish videos for several hours. Now, if you imagine for a second that I had particularly strong feelings about another topic, say, for example, the likelihood of Senator Mitch McConnell being a ghoul of some sort, Instagram would employ the exact same process it does for anybody, eventually determine this about me, and trap me in an invisible echo chamber that I technically had no role in creating other than watching videos that interested me. This time around, I accidentally fish-maxed myself, but who's to say that on another occasion, I wouldn't go even further, and go down a path I would live to regret. So, if the problem is one we create without knowing it, it should be fairly easy to solve, right? If you wanted to broaden your horizons when it came to your news consumption, you can always consult some more fringe sources or actively seek out ones that you commonly disagree with. That's not going to work here. Engagement-centric social media platforms are ultimately meritocracies. If a video really grabs people, it has the potential to go all the way to the top, and you have no actual choice about what you see next, other than if you explicitly tell the platform you are interested/not interested in a video. It seems that to break free from this system, we need to become completely unpredictable. We must forego all earthly pleasures, shed our sense of self, and become a ghost in the machine. Open up whatever platform you want and start abusing that interested/not interested functionality. The goal here is to completely destroy the profile associated with your feed. A cartel beheading video without so much as a sensitivity warning. Interested. A clip of someone playing your favorite game? Get that shit off my screen, not interested. A recipe for gulab jamun filmed on the bustling streets of Kolkata? Tell me more. A video of God himself descending from heaven only to read out your full address and the last 4 digits of your credit card? I'm bored. Next. Ultimately, you are still going to get sized up by watch time metrics, but the hope is that your feed will become so esoteric and abstract that accidentally indoctrinating yourself in any meaningful way will become pretty much impossible. I can all but guarantee you that your new For You page consisting of only maggots crawling around in food, ominous videos of Amish settlements, and Jurassic Park 3 edits is not going to slowly influence your view of the world in any meaningful way. What will change your outlook on life, however, is watching another one of my videos right after this one. It also greatly helps me out when you do this, so if you have the time, it is genuinely much appreciated. There you have it. Predictably, we're our own worst enemy when it comes to social media warping our brains. But hopefully, you can climb out of whatever rabbit hole you found yourself in by not only confusing the fuck out of whatever system determines what you like, but also by filling up your feed with me instead. That's all I had to say on this topic. If you disagreed with anything I spoke about in today's video, please describe your ideal fisherman to me in the comments section below. I read them all. Thank you all for watching, subscribe for more like this, and stay greasy, friends.